think that men do not understand that this is their chickens coming home to roost.
What do you
And
mean?
what I mean by that is I believe that for so long women were told that men care with their pockets. Men care with how they spend their money. This is how you know if a man cares for you. This is how you know that a man is interested in you. And so you cannot be shocked or surprised when we're looking for, okay, if I go out to dinner, he has to pay. If he calls me and he wants to see me, he's going to provide the date. Because if you look at everything that talk about men and women relationships, this is one way we gauge you guys. So now when y'all in y'all soft era and they're listening to you talk about all of this different kind of stuff, they don't understand that they don't understand the history behind it. Everything has a pretext, you know what I'm saying? You have to,
Yeah,
or not a pretext, a context.
right.
My bad.
I'm good.
Everything has a context, and you have to understand the context of things. And I think that when you're coming from generations of men, of fathers telling their daughters, like me, because I had a dad growing up, and big brothers telling their sisters, and uncles telling their nieces and nephews and sisters and so forth, that, you know, if you really want to know how that man feels about you, let's see how he go in his pockets for you.
Man, hell no.
Because I swear, okay, well, ask
I
other
mean,
older men.
I believe you. I believe you. The thing is, like, we live in modern times. You know, me growing up and everything, I always been slightly different. I always felt like if somebody was trying to take advantage of me, it would really tick me off. So if I feel like I'm putting in a lot of effort with a woman and she ain't doing nothing, that in itself would piss me off and everything. So as far as a man, like donating his money and spending towards a female and nothing comes out of that, that right there would tick me off too. So me growing up now is no different. Like, any woman I date has to be a partner. I don't want to date a woman that's gonna make a half-ass lackluster effort. And that's basically what a lot of women were making back in the days, and men, they tolerated that. Me personally, I just think it's unacceptable nowadays. Like, a lot of women, they fought and spoke about how they want equal rights and everything, but at the same time, y'all want equal rights, y'all finally get them when in certain situations they don't want to make the same equal effort. So that's why this
Because
whole
y'all don't want traditional women.
I don't want a
You say that on your
traditional.
show all the time.
Yeah, I don't. I just I'm not trying.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hear this
So
whole
I can.
traditional stuff. That's a bunch of
And so
bullshit.
if that's how you feel about it, then I can't be traditional. It's really a headbanger for all of us, because I don't know what you really want, and you don't, and you can't really articulate it to me, because we are because we're sharing roles. That's the problem. Y'all get upset and say you don't want to share roles, but then, okay, for example, you know what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
you get in predicaments when a woman take on more than what she should. Okay, and now I'm sharing a role with you. You being provider, you being this way, that I shouldn't be sharing. So then when I take on more and more of those characteristics, now you got a problem in a relationship. So now you got a whole bunch of women out here who are man woos. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Putting the man before the WO woman. Now y'all have a problem with it. Now y'all calling us what y'all calling us, modern women. No, it's a predicament that y'all put us in. You made us this way. The only reason why you upset with us being man wolves is because a lot of times y'all having a hard time compete on that level. And y'all feel like y'all shouldn't have to compete with the woman, which I agree with you. But we have to communicate better. I mean, hey, you out of bounds. You and I just talked about incidents of, I know people who've been in relationships and they're pushy with the man, but the man is not coming out saying, "Hey, baby, you just, you being too pushy, you being too this, you being too that." If I'm really interested, I know how to. I mean, putting gently letting us know that that's offensive to you. But if you go along with the program, we're thinking that our behavior is fine. And then
I'm
you make statements like, back in the day we wasn't putting in effort. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know what women you talking about, but that was the problem. We did 75-80% of the work in a relationship. That's really what the problem is. So now we're telling. I know for me, you know me very well. I'm not gonna do it nowhere near any of that shit
look.
because it's just too much and you don't get enough back.
Look, like I say, that's the type of men that you deal with. Me, like I said, I ain't never really dealt with a woman that felt like she about to get a free handout. Like if you gonna date me, you got to have what the younger folks say, your own motion going and stuff. Like you're not gonna sit around the house and just wait for me to save the day. Like dating women that had that mentality, it just doesn't sit well with a lot of men. You said that a lot of the traditional ways and stuff that men ask for, they really don't really want because they want to go basically half and half and stuff like that, or they want a woman to take on more than they should have to, like as far as paying for certain things. Like me, I don't know, man. I'm
But
not.
here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. I mean, that's what we say, but we understand why y'all trying to. We really do, because everything is more expensive. They have lied to you. They have lied to me. They have lied to cat, dog, anything that's walking around here. So now we're walking in this world and we're mixed up. We don't know really what's happening. So we understand why there's a need to go in half. We understand why there is a need to spend. But but y'all still haven't changed. Y'all haven't evolved the way y'all think. And I can say this is really black men. Y'all haven't really evolved how y'all think and how y'all deal with black women. With other races of women you have, but not really with black women. And I'm not talking about these women who think these girls out here who think they're women. I'm talking about with real women,
Right.
because y'all keep choosing these, these females that think that they're a certain type of woman and they're not. And they think that way because the man has gas their head up to believe that their actions, their speech, their behaviors is normal.
Right.
That's what I'm saying to you. And when something happens and you don't correct a woman, you don't say, "Hey, you're being pushy." This is what we started the conversation with. If you're not saying, "Hey, you're being pushy," "Hey, you're being this way," "Hey, I don't like it," then the woman thinks she's fine. I just told you that woman was real pushy, but the guy said, "Hey, I think you're being too pushy," and the guy simped up and said, "No, I think you was fine. It's no," you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, women they do the same stuff. They try to let guys off easy. Some dudes they don't say how they feel because when like you said black men. So we just gonna go with the black community on this one. When a black dude try to talk to a black woman saying the same stuff, trying to express herself, typically if they ain't got their heads, they feeling stuff together and everything, they come going off on us like. We trying to just tell you how we feel and everything. We don't want to argue with you, but at the same time, we have been suppressed in the past, telling us that if we speak about how we feel, we're not a man. If we talk about how we feel, it's not important, and men shouldn't talk about their feelings and things of that sort. But you also said that if in that predicament with old girl, that you should speak about how you feel versus trying to sugarcoat how you feel. Me, I'm not sugarcoating shit. I'm gonna tell you like, look. I don't like the way you talking to me. I feel like it's disrespectful, and you need to chill that shit out, And that's just me and everything. But it's been a time in my life where I struggle with that. But a lot of men, especially the black community, they struggle with that because of the way we was raised, like you said.
right, right. Well, I think that you should really consider showing um, the people the viral of how the woman started talking to Donald Trump in the very beginning, and how after he was polite, he was a gentleman, he let her finish, and after she finished, he got her together. "Hey, you're being rude to me. You didn't say this, you didn't say that, you didn't think about this," and he ran down the list. Okay, and I think that until we get to that type of transparency in our communication with men, I'm talking about just with the black and white, but
Right.
until we get to that type of transparency, then we're always going to be confused. So right then and there, if you watch how Trump handled a black educated woman who was being alpha, or in my words, being a man woo, how he
What is a
sounded.
man who? I never even heard that phrase.
My friend, he came up with the phrase man woo. Okay, so you know how you spell woman,
Yeah.
WOMAN.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in reverse. Okay, we're not a
What the fuck?
woman. We are being the man first, and then the woman.
Okay.
Okay,
That's new.
so yeah, so it's like being an alpha, like being a very alpha, a woman who is just too much in her alpha. She's not balanced.
Yeah,
Okay,
we don't like
she doesn't
that.
have that divine feminine. She doesn't have that divine feminine and masculine. She don't have a perfect mix of that. She's more masculine. And the woman in the Pharaoh, if you go back and look at it, you would see her coming across attacking him, not being not just and then I'm not talking about being a woman and being feminine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the energy of it, of being of being pleasant, of having a lot of soft skills, of saying thank you for coming, da 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 da. All
Right.
of the things that men look for women, of showing hospitality, of showing. Even though men can do it, I'm just saying that type of those type of those type of events or actions, those are more of a feminine trait or
Right.
a feminine energy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this woman, but if you saw her, then you would see exactly what I'm speaking of when I say that she just came in and she went in for the and you da, 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 why you asking for our vote? You would see all of that, right?
Right.
And then you would see. And like I told you, like even me, that it was a mirror for me to look at myself and say, oh my God, have I done that?
Yeah, I mean,
Did
and
I look like that?
it's a lot of women out here that do come off real pushy and aggressive towards men, and we just want y'all to understand that we have feelings and we want to be heard, and that all the extra aggression is actually unnecessary.
But y'all don't tell us. Y'all say it that way, but you don't give us, like in school, when a teacher says, when she's teach you a lesson, she gives you an example of it. Okay, this is an example of it. This is how it looked. Well, you guys never kind of give us a way to look at it, to see ourselves, to see a mirror of ourselves, so we can see what you're talking about. When I watched that, it was three black women, three educated, successful black women, and I watched how one of them, especially the one Miss Harris, you see if you watch it, you see it how she questioned, how she talked, her mannerisms, how her inflections was more accommodating to someone who's an alpha male like Donald Trump. And what I'm saying is that maybe men need to look and see how alpha men handle women who are out of balance, or in my terms, a man woo.
There you go with that phrase again. But yeah, like I said, ah, man. But like I said, the problem is that I hear you saying that if a man will actually, work through actually talking to a woman when they going through the things, but most of the time you saying one thing, but the action has to be carried out. And typically, when these actions are getting carried out, this is during like an argument. In an argument, a lot of women don't they ain't trying to get nothing you got to say. Only thing they caring about is what they feel. If it don't feel good to them, or it don't if they feel it don't sound right, they don't feel that they should give a fuck, and until a woman and a man is able to articulate how they feel and their thoughts and understand when somebody's coming at them with respect or being disrespectful, this type of cycle is going to continue. And that's why I actually humble myself and try to actually understand people versus spewing out negativity and dumb words to folks.
Yeah, you're right. And everything you said was absolutely correct. The church, because I'm older than you, right? So I've seen
Yeah.
a different era of life, right? And the church has taught um, Black women to be emotional, and that all of our decision makings need to be what we feel and being intuitive and so forth. And I am a very intuitive woman and all of that, but I also balance that with knowledge. You know that. I'm a researcher.
Right.
I'll go research something, and I'm very detailed with my
Right.
research. So, the world, slavery has taught us to be very emotional about everything. So I've noticed that once you open yourself up to saying, hey, I'm not going to be emotional about this. Hey, I'm going to actually learn the facts. The facts are not my feelings. Facts are facts. My feelings are my feelings. I'm going to set my feelings aside, and I'm going to deal with the facts of the situation, right?
Right.
But you can't get people to do that. You can't even get people when you're communicating. So this is the step two of the problem. So it is, number one, we're taught to be in our feelings all the time. But number two, okay, so now when I'm not in my feelings and I'm looking at facts, you can't even get people to communicate and say, okay, we're going to agree that this word means this or that word means that. Okay, just giving specific meanings to words. You can't get people. No, I mean it and I said it how I want to say it, because we want to have undisciplined minds. We
Right.
want to have undisciplined. We want to be able to choose the word that makes us feel the best at the time, which go back to what you were saying, feelings.
Yeah.
Everything is based off being emotional,
I mean,
not what the facts are.
I understand that a lot of men, some men could be very emotional in one aspect and another. 'Cause, like a lot of men, instead of talking about how they feel, they act out how they feel instead. Like they'll lash out, they might punch a hole in the wall, they might break some shit. But that's how a lot of men display their emotions because, like I said before, we are taught to reject them because it makes us look weak in that aspect. But y'all taught to blabber out the mouth and tell us how y'all feel. Well, and we would like to be able to do the same, but it's just like the way society is set up is unfortunate. Like, but I feel like we all should be able to express ourselves, but we're not allowed to do that.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The man that comes across the most masculine and the strongest is the man who appropriately says how he feels. Like, watch, and you and I had conversations about men that I've dated, and I said, hey, they said this. You was like, wow, they said that. Because really, to a woman, a man who is have enough self actualization that he is able to um, know what he feel like and then be able to choose the right words to articulate it, it actually make you stronger. It actually make you appear bigger, better, greater. Look at Barack Obama. Look at Jesse Jackson. These Martin Luther King. If you go back, I can go back and Dr. Henry Clark. I can go back to all of these. Dr. Claude Anderson. They are men who, if you watch them and listen to them, oh, Dr. Yaki. I'm sorry. In my mind, all these men are just coming up. They are men that when I think about them, and I would want to have conversation with them because they have learned how to say how they really feel, choose the appropriate words, open up their heart chakras, and then tell us how they feel. I'm not saying say it in a sappy way. They say it in a man's way, but they're able to do that. Number one, you feel better. I feel better, and the whole situation has clarity. That's when that divine masculine start rising up in y'all. But because y'all scared to say how you feel, because okay, they're gonna think I'm sappy. They're gonna think no. It really opened up the gates for you to be bigger and better, and to control the situation more favorable. Did that make sense to you, or am I talking crazy?
No, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. But like I said, a lot the way that the life is set up, men, like I said, we talk about something, people get offended. If a man say
True that.
certain things that a woman would say, like I don't like the way that makes me feel. You got these women out here who have a poor way of communicating. They'll tell you that, oh, you're sassy for talking about your emotions. Then a man will get pissed like, well, fuck it. Then why the fuck am I telling you this if it doesn't matter to you? And then it just keeps going on, and it makes us feel like we want to open up a camp. But then at the same time, you hear that woman you dating talking about, I can't trust you, my feelings and my heart, and I can't come to you with my emotion. I'm in our head. We feel the same way. Like we can't say nothing to you because you don't want to listen. You only want to hear what you want to hear. What about how I feel? What about the stuff that's inside of me? Because the only thing you want to do is take care of how you feel, and I got to sit and be second in line to you.
Very good and very true. And that goes back to the churches teaching our moms and our aunties and our grandmas to be emotional, to look for our feelings, to think about that. And neither one of us are able to look at the facts of the situation. I had a situation, and I've told you this, where the guy, he said that he wanted to be in a relationship with me. I think I know I told you this. I won't say his name.
Right.
And he said, I want to be in a relationship with you. And I said, hey, how do you want to be in a relationship with me? Because I was on this self journey. Okay, you and I have talked about this. I was on this self journey of healing, of accepting the past, of accepting me, of balancing my shadow self. I know I'm getting too weird out for you, but I was on this journey, right? And I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to get hooked up with you in an intimate way? And he hasn't really developed his masculine self. Some of this stuff that you're talking about, you're scared to be open, you're scared to heal yourself, you're scared to communicate, you don't have the skill set to communicate, you can't get out of your feelings, you just harbor things over and over in your mind. And I was bringing certain things to his attention. Like, I didn't say it like that to him, I just was very specific. Like I said,
Right.
this is what you're doing, that this is what you've done. This is what you've done. And it showed me that you don't care about yourself enough. So I know if you do these things for yourself, that I can't expect you to treat me like, and I gave the examples, right? And he was very upset with that. He says, you're right, I do harbor things. Yes, you do. And then he says, well, the conversation went on and he was upset. And he was like, and I was telling him, I said, he said, it's my problem with you is that you know it all. That's what he said.
Right.
You know it all. That's what he said. And he said, and you think you're right. And I have to listen to you. Bruh. He could not separate, and I tried to explain it to him. As I see, this is what I'm talking about. You cannot even separate that. The things that I brought to your attention, did that make you a better person?
Right.
And he said, yeah, it did. Did I lie? No, you didn't. Well, did I say it to hurt you? No. Do you believe that I'm trying to hurt you? No, I really don't believe that. I mean, I said, no, tell me the truth. No, I really don't believe that you're trying to hurt me. I think you're really trying to communicate with me. So if I'm coming to you from a soft place telling you that I like you, I think you're a great guy, but I don't know how we can be in a relationship together because I see you treat yourself in these manners, and that would never be okay with me, that you turn to me and you say, but you're this and you're that. You see, this is what I'm talking about. This type of behavior is what I'm talking about. And if the masculine does not come to grips that he just can't be stoic all the time, that he just can't be desensitized or insensitive, or he has to stand there and just have the just strong face, and he cannot actualize what he's feeling, why he's feeling, and find a way to communicate that with me, then we can never have anything. We can never have anything. And that's a real life example of that. And I've shared that with you privately, more of the details of it.
Right.
But I'm saying, this is what's happening. Now, whether people want to admit that or not, but you got to start working on yourselves. You got to start saying, if somebody tell me the truth about myself, I don't say, oh, she told me the truth to myself, but I need to go hide and I need to go pretend and stick my head in the sand and act like it doesn't exist.
Right. This the problem though. Like, people claim that they working on themselves or they trying to better themselves or somebody should go fix themselves, but nobody is out here showing you or telling you where you go wrong. You said that sometimes you need to hear where you're going wrong, but when you unwilling
Right.
to listen to constructive criticism, you get to the point where you think you know it all, like the man was saying before. Instead of listening, everybody just want to be leaders and talk and everything. They think they know some stuff and they really don't. Like me, like I've been in that position where I thought I knew everything. Like people say I come off as a know-it-all. That's because typically it's because I would cut people off thinking I know all the answers. But as I got older and become more disciplined, I started learning to be quiet and try to see things from people's perspective, because maybe I could learn from them. Maybe I could learn something brand new. Maybe they know something that I don't know about the situation, or maybe I just don't feel like talking. One of the others.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, that's how. That's what I am. Like I told you, that's what made me call you and say, "Oh my God, you gotta watch it," because just by me, being just us being friends and having these kind of conversations all the time for the last what we're going on what a year and a half now, maybe 2 years,
Yeah, something like
and
that.
for yeah. So, and for us having these conversations, it has made me look at myself differently.
Right.
It's been a blessing to me because while I'm trying to say, hey, Kim, you have to find better ways, you have to find different ways, you have to really work on yourself, you
Yeah.
have to figure out what your triggers are, and you have to really sit with yourself and say, Kim, why did this trigger you when so and so said this? What?
Right.
No, I'm talking about really, really get to the heart of the matter,
Yeah.
and until you start really dealing with that kind of stuff and ready to and have somebody to express it to, like I have you, and express these things to you we could never get out of it. But
Right.
once again, once you start deciding to take the glasses off and say, hey, I'm going to really heal this part of myself so I can find my true match, right?
Right.
When you get to that point, like me and you had, because in the beginning we had a hard time communicating, if you remember that.
Yeah, I
And I
remember
used to say, you,
clearly. You
and I
only
used to,
thing you
we say
thought
to each other, "You're not listening," right?
you just always thought I was trying to, be on some dickhead stuff, and I'm just telling you the facts. I'm telling you what works and what ain't working, and what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. And sometimes I'll listen to you or listen to one of my friends, and the only thing it does is get me fucked up, thinking that this stuff is gonna work, and I'm thinking in my head like, why I shouldn't listen to none of y'all. I should listen to my intuition, listen to myself, cause y'all ain't got to figure it out. Why am I listening to some folks that ain't got to figure it out? How is it gonna benefit me in my situation?
Yeah, true that. But the problem comes in is when we close off to not hearing what the other person said. See, you don't have to follow my advice, and I don't have to follow your advice. All I do is if I have to take a little test of it, and if it works, then we need to come back for more. But that
Right.
doesn't mean we don't think. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like with stuff you were talking about with black women specifically, okay? Why we are the least dated person. Well, when you get into a healing journey and like when you start telling me stuff about black women and some about me and I'll be telling you about these relationships and you be like, this is where you're going wrong, this is where you're going wrong. And then I started hearing you and I started understanding the perspective you were coming from and I start putting myself in your shoes, then that's how you start doing the same, right? That's how the relationship just really start evolving. But then again, then you start seeing people act out the old person you used to be.
Right. Yeah. When they
And
start
then you're like,
acting and doing the same shit that you used to do, you start thinking like, what?
right.
This used to be me. I used to be out here doing the same foolishness. And I'm just trying to help
Yes.
you and bring you to the promised land, but you ain't trying to listen to me.
Yeah.
You just still lost like I was.
Right. And so you don't want to have those arguments because you're past the I want to argue with you to get you to my point of view. You're gonna talk, you're gonna be quiet, let me talk, and then you're gonna try to put yourself in their position. You know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna take up too much more of your time. It was a
Okay.
pleasure talking with you. I'm gonna hit you up again when I need something.
Well, you shouldn't say it like that when
Nah,
you need
I'm messing
something
with you.
or you need more material.
Nah,
No.
nah, I got you. No, I'm definitely gonna hit you up,
Yeah.
especially if you need something. You already know I'm always here. I got your back. Just hit me up.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. You've shown me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you go. All
All
right.
right.
All right. Holla back.
Yeah.
Bye.